Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of All in All with Alex podcast. I'm your host, of course, Alex. Today, we have a very special guest in the building. I'm going to let her introduce herself. I'm going to let her talk about a couple things that she does. And then after that, we're going to get right into it. So, first of all, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, and you?
Okay, I'm doing good. I'm doing blessed. So go ahead and let the people know who you are, what you do, and all that.
My name is Nicole Campbell. I am the owner of Nikki's Classic Creation, and I am also the owner of Nikki's Classic Creation Funeral Edition.
Okay. So I guess let's start there. So, what a lot of the people might not know until they see this or until they see the description is that you're a full-time entrepreneur.
Correct.
So you run your businesses full time. You don't work for nobody else. Things like that. So, first of all, to start off, that's a blessing. Most people, including myself, are trying to get where full-time entrepreneurship is the goal. To never work for anybody anymore. To you be the person that controls your revenue, your amount of money that you make, and I mean it's just a blessing to see somebody, reach that goal. That a lot of times may seem so unattainable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? At times or whatever. So I guess we'll start there. So how long have you been a full-time entrepreneur?
About 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in your route to becoming a full-time entrepreneur, like when did you hit the point where you was like, okay, it's time to do it full-time now? Like what made you say, okay, the time is now?
Well, when I first started, it was just for fun. Mm-hmm. And I started Nikki Classic Creation. What I do with that is I create logos. I help people. I make flyers. Uh-huh. I help people that's like starting a business.
Okay.
I help them brand. So
okay.
I will create you a logo. I will help you advertise your business. I will do you t-shirts, pins, whatever I need to do to get it out there for you.
Right.
So when I first started, like I said, it was just for fun. I was just creating images just for myself. And I was living in Eglin, Florida. And I started with my daughter. She was, stationed down there. And I kind of did some logos for a guy. And, it took off from there. Mm-hmm. But, as time went on, starting your own business that's a lot. But I stuck with it because it was my passion.
Right,
that's what I really, really wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And it can get scary for like the income. See what I'm saying? Because 1 week I might have 10 logos to do, and then 2 weeks go by, I might not do one. Mm-hmm. But it teaches you how to manage money. It teaches you how to, know when to spend, when not to spend. But the thing about starting a business, a lot of people love to say, oh, I got to spend this. When you make the money, put the money back in the business.
Yep.
That's the only way your business is going to grow. So when I first started making money, I was working off my cell phone. When I started having to buy iPads. I started having to buy laptops. I started having to buy printers. Mm-hmm. So to me, it didn't look like I was making money because I was forever spending it.
Right.
But as time went on, I could see the success, that I was doing. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to Nikki Classic Creation Funeral Edition, I started that back in 2020 when my dad died. My dad always said, Nicole, you can do whatever you want to do. Just joking, he said, but when I die, I want you to do my funeral. Okay, Dad. So I created his obituary, 16-page full color, fan front and back. Never just thought that it would go anywhere.
Right.
So like 2 weeks later, somebody called me. They was like, you Nicole Campbell? I'm like, yeah. They was like, well, I got your dad's obituary. You created this. I'm like, yeah. They was like, man, I want you to do this for me. I'm like, okay. So as I started doing it for different families, it became a passion because someone trusted me to make their loved ones' final memories beautiful.
Right.
So I created this thing called funeral bags. So what comes with the funeral bags, you get a 8-page full color obituary, a fan front and back full color. I do thank you cards. I go ahead and do the thank you cards and put it in there, and I mask and pen, but then I customize the bag.
Okay.
I put the person's name, sunrise and sunset. That has really, really taken off for me. I have done funerals in Las Vegas, Nevada.
That's crazy.
I have done it for Atlanta, Georgia, Ellenwood, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, Detroit, Michigan, Clinton, Alabama, of course, Huntsville, Alabama. I just put it out there and it took off.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a good story. A lot of people wish that their story can go like that because a lot of times when you're in a business, it takes, it doesn't go that fast.
Right.
Like yours started fast, especially, when you started the funeral editions. Because I feel like the reason it probably started fast for you is because there's not a lot of people in that lane.
Right.
A lot of people us as human beings, we don't like to think about death. We don't like to deal with death, but death is a part of life.
Right.
It's going to happen eventually for every one of us. So, a lot of people just say, hey, I don't want to deal with it.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Or somebody can be upset if you don't do something right because it's a loved one, you know what I mean? So I think that's why a lot of people probably shied away from that field. But with you embracing it, I think that's what really helped you really get to where you are now. And then not only that, you still expanding every day. I mean, like you said, we're all the way here in Alabama and you did a obituary for people in Detroit. You did people Las Vegas, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Georgia and all these places. So, I mean, that may end up being a thing to where every month you may have a client in every state,
Right.
Think about if you had 50 clients a month.
Wow. That would be lovely. Not lovely on that aspect.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Just as far as your business, it would be lovely.
Correct.
As far as the reason why, it won't be lovely, but every second of the day somebody is dying regardless. So there's nothing we can do to change it. But if a loss can also be a benefit at the same time, because you don't want a loss just to be a loss, right?
Right.
Nobody wants a loss just to be a loss. So if a loss for me that I was already going to take anyway, I was already going to take that loss no matter what, can benefit somebody else in a positive way.
Now, I have taken a lot of losses financially.
Oh, yeah. You're going to
and I have, when I create my obituaries, what I do is I have 3 people that I send them to, critique me. Like, I always room for error.
Right.
And you're going to take a loss. And I remember one day, my daughter asked me, she was like, Mom, it's basically like you're doing this for free. But see, because I love it, I didn't look at it like that. Because when someone dies, you never know what that family is going through.
Right.
So if I could take paper and pictures and make you something so beautiful that, is very memorable.
Right.
And then I also recreate obituaries. Let me tell you how I got into that. So my mom died when I was young.
Okay.
And, when we, me and my sister, we were like, nobody got an obituary of mom or, my brother. So when we finally got one, it was like torn half. So what I did was I got with my sister. She's an attorney. And, what is the longest I kept the obituary part the same because you can't change that part.
Mm-hmm.
But I recreated my brother's obituary. And in that, I did like future memories, which was our kids, grandkids, So I sent it to the funeral home, Royal Funeral Home in Huntsville. And I asked, Mr. Roy, I said, can you put this on file for my brother? And he was like, yeah. And so maybe 3 or 4 days later, he called back. He was like, Miss Campbell. I said, yes. He said, you redid this. I said, yes, sir. I said, because you guys couldn't find one. When my aunt passed, we found it, but it was torn half. So I redid it. And he was like, wow. And after that, he called me. I have redid like 4 for like his mom, his grandma, his granddad, and his brother. Because back then, they wasn't doing all the graphics
right.
with obituaries that they do now.
Right.
So when I get with the family, and my questions, I always ask about that person. What was their favorite color? Was they a football fan, baseball fan? Did they like roses? I make the obituary about them.
Right. As it should be. Yeah.
So, and I have probably done over 100 obituaries within 3-4 years. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Not one's dissatisfied customer. Not one.
Well, that's a blessing, and that's a dedication to your hard work, and you know what I mean. So that's definitely good. 3 years. You started doing it in 2020, and so in 3 years, that's what 150 days or so, and right. You did 100 obituaries. Mm-hmm. So you almost have a client a day that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's definitely a blessing for your business. Of course, a non-blessing for the 100 families, but
right.
Well, it was a blessing that they received the obituary the way they did,
correct.
Instead of them having it so simple that now they have a complex obituary that has many graphics, many pictures, things like that of their loved ones. So, and of course they were happy with it. So that's definitely great. So as far as that, like as far as your road to full-time entrepreneurship, what was the mental health like in that aspect?
Well, when I first started, the mental health was real. Mm-hmm. Because when you first started, you get out there, don't nobody know you. So it's like, did I make a mistake? You always gonna doubt yourself.
Right.
And it can put you in a depression so bad that, you just never know what to do. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side to that, if that's really your passion, if that's really, really what you want to do, I prayed a lot of nights, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I cried a lot of days. I used to just do free stuff for people just to give it to them, thinking, well, maybe they're going to call, or maybe they're going to show it to somebody and they'll call me. I used to just go to stores, just recreating logos. Kenneth Allison had this magazine around Clinton called Tibbets. And what it was an advertising magazine that he put out every week around Chilton County. Yeah. I used to take people's business. I used to recreate their whole ad, like their whole business ad. Put it in there. I did whatever I could right. to get it out there.
Right.
And, even with the obituaries and the funeral shirts and the logos, like when Kowalski Christian, his wife started a trucking business, King and Queen Transportation. I create their logos, all that. And, it's a good feeling when you go and you out and about and you see your work on somebody's chest, hat, it's a really, really good feeling.
Yeah, I can only imagine, you know what I mean? Like for me in particular, I do photography and I do videography, I do several things. So for me to be able to see somebody's pictures that I've taken, on their social media, or mm-hmm. to see a wedding video that I recorded or somebody and they're posting it, things like that. Of course, it make you feel good because it's like, it's a piece of art.
Right.
It's a work of art. And your client was happy with what you done. And now the world is seeing it. You know what I mean? So that's always definitely a good feeling, regardless if clients are coming or not. It's always a good feeling to feel that. Of course, it would be a lot better if more clients came. So now you can have more happy people. You could also have more funds for your business. But so yeah, so that mental aspect is what most entrepreneurs feel, because most of them haven't reached where you're at.
Right.
So most of us go through that phase of feeling like, man, is this something I even need to do? You know what I mean? Am I doing it right? Things like that. So for you to go through that, and then for you to break through to the other side, like how was that feeling? Like what did that feel like when you finally realized, like, you know what? I ain't got to work a job. I can do this full time.
It's the best advantage I love about entrepreneurship is you are your own boss.
Say it again.
You work when you want to. Mm-hmm. But you always have to remember, whenever you're doing anything, especially for the public, you never want to prolong anything. If somebody called me today, Nicole, I need a logo. Within 24 hours, I'm going to try to have you 2 samples. Mm-hmm. Because the more active you are with it, the better, people, hey, call her. She needs such and such, Mm-hmm. So, like I said, but it's really not a bad thing to do. And I will say this. Don't be like me. Do your research. It's a lot of advantages and it's a lot of disadvantages. And a couple of years ago, I was like really like dumbfounded to a computer. Mm-hmm. So what was my next step? What do? I got a book, Diamonds for Computers. That didn't help. So my next thing was I enrolled in school. When I enrolled in school, I thought I was going for graphic design. But I ended up going for computer science engineer, which was a blessing.
Yeah, because that you learned everything about graphic design and
I
more.
Learned everything. I can, I know how now. So now I said probably next year, I'm going to start building people websites, since I actually know how to do it through data and not through GoDaddy.
Right.
So because they taught us how to actually build a website from the ground up. So that's what I'm working on now with mine. I'm building it from the ground up.
And that's actually good because, for example, my websites, right? I created them, but I used Wix. Mm-hmm. And the one bad thing about using those places is you have to pay a monthly fee.
Right.
Whereas if you get the website just built like you're talking about, you pay a one-time fee.
Right.
And the only monthly fee you will pay then is for your domain.
Correct.
So, a domain monthly fee like $9 or $11, $12 a month. You know what I mean?
Well, with the software that I have, once I create your domain name, it's yours. You don't have to pay anymore.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Because you building it. See, what I'm doing is I'm building it from start to finish. I'm creating. The thing about it, people think people go on computers to build a website. You do not. You have software and everything you have, and they tell you your thumb drive is your best friend. So everything that you create, you put it on that thumb drive. You will always have it. Mm-hmm. So when I created my domain name, I didn't have to pay anything because I'm doing it through software. I'm not doing it, through Google. I'm not doing it through a company. Mm-hmm. Because I'm creating it myself. Mm-hmm. And I learned that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah, you can save a lot of expenses.
You save a lot of money.
Because, for my website and my domain together, include my business email, I think I'm paying like $70 a month.
Right.
For one website, and I have 3 websites.
And, when at graduation, I was talking to a couple of guys, and, one guy told me, he was like, yo, Miss Campbell, won't you just go into building websites? And he showed me, like for University of Tennessee, he built their actual website from the ground up.
Oh wow.
And another good thing about building it from the ground up, it never hacks.
That's even better. So let me ask you this about building it from the ground up. So what if, like, okay, for example, you built me a website, and 3 months down the line, I need something updated on that website.
So with building a website, you use coding.
Right.
So only thing I would have to do is go in and code. I will create codes for everything that you need. So you always, when you build a website, you're going to always have space. So say, for instance, you might come to me and say, hey, Nicole, I want a 800 square feet website, that's a code.
Okay.
I would build you a 1,200 square feet code, because 2 years down the line, you might say, hey, I want to add 300 pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So you just keep adding on. Easy. You don't have to start all over. You just add in.
That's interesting right there.
Yeah, the data is the data, and the coding is how you start.
That's interesting. That's something that I didn't know. You know what I mean? I used to be like a computer whiz when I was younger, but I kind of just got out of it and started focusing on stuff that was kind of like making me money right then. You know?
Right.
So, at the time, it was paying, but I was young. At that time, I was a teenager, so you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It wasn't really, I didn't know much about being an entrepreneur or being a businessman. I was just like, okay, you need me to do this? Okay. Pay me this amount of money, I'll go do it. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of things that I didn't know. And of course, since that time, technology has took a leap, a crazy leap, because that was back when that was like 15, 16 years ago, what I'm talking about. So, but anyway, that's definitely, that's something that I didn't know. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people watching this right now didn't know as well. So, thank you definitely for sharing that. So now that you've got into the computer, was it computer science?
Right.
Computer science. So you said you're possibly going to go back, or did you say you're going to possibly go back?
I continued on to get my doctorate.
Oh, okay.
In computer science, web developer.
Okay.
Mobile web. So just being in school and just going through the classes, watching how people create apps, how they create games. So I kept going. And so now I am going for my doctorate in computer science, web developer, mobile web.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. That's amazing. That's definitely amazing. I mean, anytime you can accomplish those things and do them on your own time and not have to be rushed and things like that, that's definitely a blessing, because a lot of times, when you're going to college, a lot of people have to work a full-time job while they're going to college. So that slows them down. So now they only can take 2 classes a semester, because if they take 4, they're going to be overwhelmed, or, things like that. So now it's taking them a lot longer to finish that degree and do this and do that. So that's definitely good. That's definitely, a big time blessing, especially considering the fact of what you do for your business. That definitely helped out a lot.
Right.
Because now, you're an expert all around with computers now, versus not knowing anything or know only just a little bit. Like, way more than the average person. Like, the average person, they know how to cut it off, cut it on, restart it to do updates and things like that, and move around on it and do what they need to do, surf the web. But they don't know how to do any of that. You know what I mean? Even the average person can't go to Wix and create their website, because they just like, I don't know how to do it, or it can't wrap their mind around it. You know what I mean? Right. So for you to be able to do all that, that's fantastic, I would say. So now that you've mastered that, you got the schooling, you've been running your business several years. So what is the mental health like once you reach that point? So once you reach that point and now you're running your business, you're successful, you're doing it full time, how is the mental health now? Because I know how you explained it as you were coming up, and it was definitely difficult not getting clients and stuff like that. But now that you have clients, trying to still manage to keep the full-time entrepreneurship up 100% of the time. Like, how is that mental health now?
Well, it's a whole lot better. And I will say, stay prayed up.
Mm-hmm.
I always put God first. You know, a lot of people say, well, you know, but that's what I do. And I don't stress over anything anymore. I used to, fall out stress, but I don't. Because whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time go on, you know how to manage. You know, you have to sit back and manage. You know, I have a binder. And every day I write down what I'm going to do that day. You have to, because I never know when somebody's going to call. I never know when somebody's going to say, hey, I need a logo done.
Right.
Or, hey, such died, I need you to do a obituary. Can you do me a collage? I just never know. So I write out, and I always leave gaps between what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Just in case somebody called, and I can fill in that gap. Because just like today, someone called me for a flyer. Mm-hmm. For the neighborhood watch. And I wasn't able to do it when they called. But because I had that 2-hour gap between 2 and 4, I got it done then. Because you never know when someone's going to call.
Right, right.
So, but the mental health is way better. Way better. And I say a binder, a journal is your best friend. Because, you know, once you write down what you need to do, how to start your day off, cliche, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, because, and one of the reasons that I'm pretty sure it works is because when you're being a human being, you're going to forget things. So you may have supposed to do this and you forgot about it. So having it wrote down, like at the time that it's being told to you, and you can always refer back to it, of course, yeah, that definitely, now you like, okay, if you say, man, what was I supposed to do? Well, let me go check my journal. Mm-hmm. I know I wrote something down. Let me go look at it. So now you look at it, you're like, oh, I was supposed to do this. So now you can still get it done in a timely manner versus you forgetting about it and then the client hitting you up and saying, hey, you know, just checking in or whatever. And then that sparked your memory like, oh, man, I was supposed to do this. So now you behind of where you wanted to be as far as on it. Not necessarily behind to the customer, but you're behind on where you wanted to be on that particular project.
Right.
So I definitely understand that feeling. It's, you know, it's kind of the same thing with some of the stuff that I do, because I'm like, you know, I'll have, let's say, 3 or 4 days in a row where one day I'm shooting pictures, the next day I do a music video, the next day I do a podcast. And so now it's like, by the time Thursday get here, it's like, man, I'm tired, but it's like I got to start editing.
Right.
That client want those pictures, you know what I'm saying, that I did on the first day. So, and then I did a music video the next day, so they want that. And then the podcast, you know, that's my own stuff, so there's no really major rush on it, but I still need to put out content so that way people can stay tuned in and they can stay following the podcast and I can grow the podcast. So I definitely understand where you come from with that. I'm glad that the mental health is a lot better because, you know, like I tell people, mental health is one of those things that are not talked about enough in the world.
Right.
Especially in the Black community. You know, in the Black community, it was always frowned upon when it comes to, you know, going to get counseling or whatever. You know, people frowned upon that, like, are you weak-minded if you go do that? But really, it takes a strong person to go get counseling. Because you realize, hey, something is wrong. I don't know what to do to deal with it. Let me go seek somebody's help who's been studying this type of thing.
Well, you know, when it comes to a lot of things you bring over from your childhood to an adult.
Definitely.
And, you know, I wish my parents would have gotten me counseling, you know, going through what we went through, you know, as kids. Our mom committed suicide. Then, you know, I moved in with my grandma, had a baby when I was 14. My grandma died when I was 16. You know, I went through a lot in, like, to be so young. So, but I thank Jesus every day that we had the grandmother that we had, because you was going to church.
Mm-hmm.
And she instilled a God in us. And I really feel like with me and my sisters being, going through what we're going through, I got one sister, traveling nurse, Liz is a lawyer. Then I got another sister, she's doing good for herself. And, in spite of going through what we went through, we did good. But you have to give all that to God.
Yeah.
So I will say, if you feel like you need help, get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to go to mental health, that's what pastors are for. Spiritual counseling sometimes is way better than, So that, like, our pastor used to counsel with our church member at least once a month. And that not because you needed it, but because he was there to give it, to offer it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like counseling is good for a lot of things, not just for mental health or not because you're going through things. You can be doing good, and it's always good to have that one person to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I tell people, I'm big on everybody has to have their person.
Right.
Everybody has to have that person where they can call and they can just tell them anything, and they don't have to worry about being judged. They don't have to worry about being yelled at, screamed at, or whatever. So they can call that person and tell them, hey, I feel like I'm drowning, or I feel like I'm whatever. Mm-hmm. And that person can say, well, tell me what's going on. Okay, did you try to do this? Did you try to do that? We can't have you like that. We need you in positive thoughts. We need, you know what I mean? And like me, I'm that person for a lot of people. So,
right.
I try to make sure that I keep myself sharp as far as my mental thoughts and things like that, mm-hmm. because a lot of people are dependent on me.
Right.
So it's like, hey, I tell my brothers all the time, not my real brothers, but my brothers that I've been dealing with for a while, to just like my real brothers. But even my real brothers, I tell them too, like, I don't want to hear anything about anything negative.
Mm-hmm.
People know if you call me about something that's negative, I will hang up the phone.
Right.
And then you can call me back when you're on some positive stuff. Because if you allow negativity to seep into your life, then negative things will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even if you're talking about somebody else's situation, you're talking about negative stuff. That's negative stuff will come through the phone and invade my household.
Right.
I don't need no negativity in my life.
Correct.
So same thing when it comes to the business stuff. Like, I stay on positive things. Like, for example, me and Raquez and Daquan, we all, putting together on this event that we have coming up. And by the time this podcast drop, we'll be done announced the event, so I can go ahead and kind of tell you. So we're doing like a music concert. It's going to be an outdoor one, which is, I've never even been to an outdoor one in real life before. So for us to throw an outdoor one is going to be crazy. And we're doing an industry level artist that a lot of people have heard of named Derez Deshaun.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to set it up. We just finalized everything today. We're going to have them come on October the 7th. And it's going to be a great, dope event. It's on my birthday too. So, you know what I mean? So birthday bash, I might have to put my little money on my shirt, maybe see if I can come up with a little something for the night, But yeah, like positive things like that. Like, that's why I only have people that keep positive mindsets around me, because I don't want to, they say you are what you hang around. You know what I'm saying? So if I hang around a bunch of negative minded people, then I'm gonna have negative thoughts. You know what I mean? But if I hang around a bunch of millionaires, then eventually I'm gonna become a millionaire. You know what I mean? So so that's just my thoughts. It's like, hey, I only want positive minded people around me. I only want people that are trying to do things with their life around me. Like, if you want to be lazy, you don't want to do nothing in life, I don't want you around me. Because then I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to not want to do nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, especially, when I have so much going on, doing this, doing that, doing this, plus having 3 girls and, trying to provide for them, make sure they're good, and it's a lot.
Right.
So a lot of times you want to just be like, man, I don't want to do this.
Well, when Tyran came to me about the PVO day,
mm-hmm.
and he said, Nicole, I need to be a speaker. Your name just rolled off I don't know why. I always, when somebody, I say, have you called Alice Morris? Mm-hmm. And I really don't know you.
Right.
But I know every time I have seen you and I'm around you, it's always a good vibe. And for you to accomplish what you have at a young age, speaking to those kids, let them know, hey, just because you can plan that doesn't mean you can't do it. Because a lot of people think, hey, I can't, but you can.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't have a positive role model. A lot of people don't have someone that's pumping them up, telling them like, "Hey, you can be anything in the world you want to be." My daughter asked me the other night. She asked me something. She said, she asked me, could she do something? And I said, you can do whatever you want to do, baby girl. You can be whatever you want to be. There's nobody that's gonna stop you. The only person who can stop you is you.
Right.
So, you can be whatever you want to be. I mean, that's the mindset we push on everybody. So, like, for him to for you guys to reach out to me for the positive vibes on the event just really fits me perfectly, because people will tell you for years, that's all I preach is I don't want any negativity around me.
Correct.
Negative stuff gets pushed to the side. You know what I mean? If this person, that person doing drama and stuff, get it away from me. I don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? Because
Correct.
that's not conducive to my lifestyle. So, but yeah, so definitely, I definitely appreciate it for the mention on that, and we did have a successful event. So, I can't wait to the next one. We do the sneaker ball for the kids. I think Valentine's Day, so that's gonna definitely be another big event. For the kids to enjoy and
Correct.
have fun. I can't wait. I'm definitely excited for that too. So I guess what we'll do as far as that, to wrap it up, as far as the entrepreneurship is, what is your next step as a full-time entrepreneur?
Well, I also do events, and I don't really advertise it because I got a long way to go with that, but I do a lot of them, and but my next main goal is to start building websites for people.
Right.
So that's 2024. I'm working on it now. I'm gonna take off with it.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna need one built.
Yeah, and so to get it out there, you definitely be the first person I call. I'm gonna do two for free, and like once again, like my daughter always said, "Mama, it's not giving it to you, but if I build you a website,
it's for the promotion, really."
Right.
That's really what it's for. I mean, me personally, I'm big on time, so I give you a donation anyway. You know what I mean? Just because you took your time out to do it. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this. Well, no, I'm gonna ask you that off air. I don't want to give nobody no ideas. I want to come up with this first. Well, it ain't first, but I want to see if you can do this for me. So I'll talk about that off air. But
okay.
As far as the website though, I may get you to be one to like drive my traffic to for my credit repair. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm starting to run the Facebook and Instagram ads and stuff like that, which I've been running them for other aspects of the stuff that I do, but I'm gonna start running them for the credit repair.
Okay.
So I want to be able to push that traffic to my website so I can collect all their information and stuff like that. Build up email lists whenever I'm doing like deals on the credit repair, things like that. So now whenever I'm doing deals, I can just send it out to, how many other people don't ever put their email on there. Right. Whether it's 500 people, 5 million people, whatever. So now everybody's getting that same email at the same time. And they say, you know what? He got a deal going on. And they may forward it to their friend that they know that needs credit repair.
Right. And then, I'm real big on paper. And I say this because you got a lot of people don't do social media. But you got a lot of people that do social media, but they pass by that, don't pay no attention. So I am real big on flyers. I'm real big on passing out paper. I am a paper girl. I will pass, but websites, everybody Google. Everybody, I don't care what your age is, you're gonna Google.
Yep.
When you say, hey, the visual goat, the first thing I'm gonna do is go to Google. I'm not gonna go to social media. I stopped doing that. I'm trying to practice not to do that as much, but I love to Google. And your website, you'd be surprised. This guy, he showed me like University of Tennessee, doctor's offices. He have I mean, he is the best I have seen so far. And then, like I said, the one most important thing I love about them, they do not crash.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing right there. Definitely. But I definitely know I'm gonna get with you on mine. Yes. So right now I'm just using a landing page on Linktree right now. So eventually, of course, I want to go to my own website and the other stuff that I'm talking to you about. But so, is there anything else you want to tell? Well, actually, before we get out of here, this will be the last thing we'll do. Talk to the people that are part-time entrepreneurs that are trying to become full-time entrepreneurs. Give them one piece of advice.
If it's your passion, go for it. Don't let nothing stop you.
Short and sweet. So, okay, well, let the people know where they can find you at as far as social media, your website name, things like that. And I'll also put it in the description for you guys, but I'm going to let her say it one time and then we're going to put it in the description also.
Okay, Nicole Campbell on Facebook. I'm Nikki Nicole. I also have a Facebook page, Nikki Classic Creation. I also have a Nikki Classic Creation Funeral Edition. You can also call me 706-905-7261.
Well, you guys heard it here. That was another episode of All In All with Alex. Peace. Wow.